Would you please still be my friend?
You don't have any friends. Nobody likes you.
What is up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the decidedly debonair Dr. Disaster. And do you remember this headline from last week when the people trying to defend Ghost of Yotei used Assassin's Creed Shadows as a baseline comparison, bragging that the game had outsold Shadows on the PS5?
That's easy!
Yeah, that doesn't seem like much of a brag in hindsight. A few months ago, Ubisoft's PR team put out a statement, though, that their budget for Assassin's Creed Shadows was over 100 million euros, implying that the number was somewhere in that ballpark, but estimates for the development of that game have it at somewhere around 250 to 300 million, so I suppose that this announcement here that they made is technically true, but it's clear PR spin. We know that Star Wars Outlaws accrued around $2 to $250 million in development costs, and there's no way that Ubisoft was going to spend more on Outlaws than on their flagship property. With marketing included, Shadows will have likely cost somewhere around $350 to $400 million.
That's a spicy meatball!
That context is really important for what we are about to talk about. The fact that they spent somewhere around $350 to $400 million on Shadows is why Ubisoft just parted ways with the franchise's creative director. It's why they publicly announced that they canceled the Civil War era game from the IP, which actually could have been pretty cool if they did it properly. And it is why Ubisoft no longer has direct control over the Assassin's Creed franchise. It is now housed under Vantage Studios, which Tencent has a large say in. Because here's the thing, whereas Assassin's Creed Shadows has the largest budget in the IP's history, it is now provably the lowest selling of the last 5 Assassin's Creed games. So now I get to say my 3 favorite words.
I told you! Yep. I told you!
This data here that Alinea Analytics put out the other day in an attempt to protect Ghost of Yotei did not perform its intended task. Instead, it was pretty damning for Assassin's Creed Shadows. This post here on Reddit has been making the rounds on social media because it made an interesting observation. We now have hard numbers for Assassin's Creed Shadows after over half a year, and based on the information that they were foolish enough to provide, it indicates that this is the lowest selling game of the past 5 Assassin's Creed titles, despite its massive budget. If you want tangible evidence that going woke is bad for a video game, then here it is. There was arguably no higher profile game with more documented progressive woke shit plugged into it, and it pleases me to be able to announce that despite the popular feudal Japan setting that the game was placed in, Shadows apparently lost a large chunk, somewhere around half of the Assassin's Creed audience. In the immortal words of the legendary Willem Dafoe,
"Kinda makes me feel like river dancing."
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you smash the like button on this video, and if you haven't subscribed yet, then get right on that. We have been plowing through our subscriber count to the point that we just passed another milestone, meaning that you all know what question must be asked next.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
We now have 170,000 space pirate a-holes in this Buccaneer crew, and as is the custom on the channel, with every 1,000 subscribers I add a new ship to the fleet in order to house the new guys. This time, one of you recommended that we add the Mirage from the old show Silverhawks, which is zooming around here. If anyone else has suggestions for future ships, drop them into the comment section, and keep in mind that super chats get bumped to the top of the list. And also, for your reference, I will be adding an alphabetical list of the ships already in the fleet to the description of this video. But in any case, thanks for being here everyone, and I will continue to do my best to keep earning your viewership.
I knew it, I'm surrounded by assholes.
Anyhow, we're going to take a peek at this Reddit post which has been going around on social media. It says, Assassin's Creed Shadows is the lowest selling game of the last 5 Assassin's Creed games despite having the highest budget. I knew it was a flop, but I did not expect it to be such a disaster. For example, compared to Mirage, which sold 5 million in 3 months, Shadows sold 4 million in 6 months, fewer copies in double the amount of time. Knowing that Mirage sold less than Valhalla, Odyssey, and Origins, what a real disaster. And if you look here at this old article from Gaming Bolt, you can see the evidence which backs up this claim. This article here was published in January of 2024, and it tells us that Ubisoft sold around 5 million copies of Mirage at that time, which was about 3 months into the life cycle of Mirage, and it tells us that Mirage had comparable sales numbers to the likes of Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey. And then, to add insult to injury for Ubisoft, the article says here, Ubisoft made it abundantly clear in the lead-up to Assassin's Creed Mirage's launch last year that it was designed from the get-go as a smaller, more contained experience, meant to serve as an appetizer of sorts between major tentpole releases for the franchise. Nonetheless, it looks like the game has enjoyed decent success regardless, if not on the level that its launch numbers would have suggested. So, this was meant to be a smaller game, and yet apparently they sold 5 million units in 3 months. It is worth noting that in this article and in the announcements that Ubisoft made, they mention player count in the announcement instead of copies sold, which they did for Assassin's Creed Shadows as well, but the analysts estimated that Mirage brought in around $250 million in revenue, which is right in line with 5 million sales for a $50 game, though they clearly aren't accounting for the percentage that the platforms selling the game would take off the top. But if you look here, Ubisoft claimed that Mirage was in line with the sales numbers that we saw for Assassin's Creed Origins and Assassin's Creed Odyssey, so if that is true, then those games, combined with Shadows, account for 4 of the last 5 Assassin's Creed titles, and Shadows is obviously behind all of them. And then, the 5th game is Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which everyone knows is the game with the best launch in the history of the franchise. It is the biggest seller in franchise history, so that means that this post here appears to be correct. Now that we know definitively that Shadows has sold 4.3 million units in over half a year, they officially are the worst-selling game from the IP in the last 5 outings, with easily the largest budget. And what's funny to me is that, as you can see at the bottom of this post, the guy who posted it had to repost it, since the Redditors deleted the original post for not having sources, even though he obviously posted his sources in the comment section. I can just imagine those Redditors angrily slamming the buttons on their keyboard as they deleted this guy's post. And I've got to say, I love all the commentary that you can see here in this Reddit thread from people gloating in the faces of all the people who tried to pretend that Shadows was a huge hit. This top guy here wrote, "But Yaski is the greatest assassin. He managed to kill the whole franchise, LOL." And then the dude below him replied, even the marketing team knew they effed up with Yasuki. They started hiding his face with a mask in promotional images so you couldn't actually tell he was black unless you looked really hard. Most of the promotional images also featured Naui instead. The next guy wrote, he was samurai after all. And then at the bottom, that dude wrote, Yasuki could kill a whole franchise and almost a game company. Beat it. And you know, the thing is, it's too bad that this character damaged Ubisoft's ability to make that Civil War game from Assassin's Creed. I wouldn't have had a problem at all in that game playing as a black dude, because in that setting it would have made perfect sense. It would have been awesome. But in Shadows, Yasuki was clearly meant to promote their liberal, multicultural, hippie-trippy, kumbaya shit, to the point that we all said, to hell with it. But here are a few more posts which illustrate how most people seem to feel about this game. This guy at the top wrote, the normie mind cannot comprehend it, that there is clearly a woke fatigue and safe edge in all forms of media. Everything is blurring together in terms of this cesspool of woke DEI garbage, but they overplayed their hand and lost. No one cares about forced representation outside no-life journalists. All 30 of them. And then the next person wrote, unfortunately they will just fire the devs who were critical and voiced concerns. The brain-dead executives will stay. And someone responded to him, the franchise director for Assassin's Creed was forced out and they canceled the post-Civil War Assassin's Creed game because they didn't want controversy. Tencent are making changes. And then that next person echoed what I said a minute ago. Funny thing is, the Civil War thing would actually make sense as a setting and as a lead character. You can tell their original intentions with Yasuki when they cut to him in combat and the OST is blasting hip-hop. The Civil War era lead would actually be an American black man, or at least one dragged to America. Just shows that Ubisoft leadership only sees praise and complaints and does literally zero investigation beyond those two words. And yes, Ubisoft has been a completely asinine company that took one of the easiest layups in the history of gaming, a feudal Japan Assassin's Creed, and they turned it into what will likely end up being over $100 million loss by the time all is said and done. But I'm gonna leave it there. Drop your mockery of these Ubisoft clowns into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.